shop. Now this week, not a lot of machining. I don't know if there'll be any, but if you're into that, you'll have to catch me on the next one. But hopefully we're getting stuff in line for a bunch of future machining. That's the plan anyway. I get the saw off the trailer. I get the grinder off the trailer and in the shop. I get my K&T mill moved and in its final position. I get a spot cleaned out for it, and we test run the grinder. So, you know, quite a bit, to be honest. And of course I got some extra stuff too. So, I hope you enjoy. Well, I guess it's time to move this big mill out of the doorway. And I'll be glad to get the space too. I got my corner cleaned out finally. That was quite some job. I have collected a bunch of junk over the last few years, and going through it and throwing a bunch of stuff away felt good, to be honest. So I got a set of concrete anchor over here because that's what I got to have something to pull from. This is kind of a one-man show. I'm going to use my electric winch and I'm going to drag this thing into that corner. Let me pan you around and show you the corner. Well, here it is. Something I haven't seen in quite some time, and that's open space. Although it can't stay that way, I'm gonna fill it with a mill. In this corner before, if you've watched the channel for any time, there was a wooden table here with my grinders and stuff on it where I did my, and that wind is kicking outside, where I did my lathe tool grinding, rough grinding and stuff like that. And I also had over 2,000 pounds of bagged concrete here that I had to move. So it was quite a job to get that stuff out of here, but I'm excited. So let's get rigged up. We'll get our hole and our anchor set, and then we will start pulling on this thing. Go. Got somewhere to pull from. Okay, so I got my winch hooked up to this far back corner in one of the main bolt down holes. And what I'm going to do first is try to spin this thing around. Then I'm going to pull it from the back. And you can see I've got some chains laying over the cable just in case this thing pops loose. Those chains should help to catch this cable if it decides it wants to spring back. That's the idea. So I removed the door and moved my hook over on this side. That should pull this thing on around some more. And then once I get the back end of this in line, then I'll hook to both with a strap and hopefully pull it right back into place. Alright, so I know I'm going to get people that say, oh yeah, why don't you put it on pipes or put it on skates? And to be honest, then I'd have to lift this thing up. I'd have to put the pipes or the skates under it. I'd have to deal with the pipes, coming out and changing them and keeping them straight. I'd have to, bump around the skates. Then I'd have to get it off of those once I, was done. This thing slides pretty easy on concrete, and I don't care if it scuffs the floor a little bit, it'll clean off. So that's the reason why I'm not using anything under it. I've got skates, but they're a pain to use. Real close. I want this thing back at least another 6 inches to a foot, and to do that I can't use the winch anymore because it's just the unit's too long. So I'm going to use a come along. This has seen better days, but still works. You can move it a little bit, you can move it a lot. It just depends on how much time you're willing to put into it. This is actually working pretty well. And that's about it. Well, that actually feels pretty good to have this thing in position. I got full table travel everywhere, plenty of room for my rams to go back. I think that I'll probably end up hanging my arbors, my horizontal milling arbors here, just a thought, and maybe my arbor supports over there, and then maybe a shelf or something, here for my tooling for this machine. I think that'll be nice. So, man, that's nice. I'm so glad to have that thing out of the floor. It was a lot of work though. Moving it was easy, but moving everything, all my other stuff wasn't. Steel chainsaws are so much better than Husqvarna's. I'm just kidding. I like them both. I haven't started this. I got a quick little limb that I got to cut. Now I haven't started this thing in months, probably 3 months. Since before winter anyway. And she's bone cold. It doesn't look like it's too well cared for, but I actually care for it fairly well. I got to tighten the chain up on this guy a little bit, and I got a limb that I got to cut. I'm interested to see how many pulls she starts from, dead cold. I'm interested. Usually it's about 3 or 4. So we'll see. This is a 028 AV Super Wood Boss. It's an old steel made in West Germany, but I tell you, I've had this saw for years, and I heat with wood, and it's been a great saw. It really has. Let's see how quick she starts. Choke completely. So that was quite a bit more than 3. The quality of the coffee that you get here at work depends on the time of the day that you arrive and who makes it. This looks like coffee water, but it's better than no coffee. Alright, so I want to give everybody a little closer look at this, saw and grinder. We got a quick look at it last week, but I want to give you a little closer look now. And I've had a lot of time to think about this saw and its fate. In order to get it off the trailer, though, I had to lighten it up. So I removed the out table off of it and the automatic feed in table, which was quite a job. There was a lot of steel there, and it was definitely heavy. Had to actually cut the whole unit in half to get it off the trailer. What are you doing, Chloe? I'm working by myself, so it has to be in manageable pieces. All that was set on a angle iron frame, and the more I look at this saw, the more I really want to repair it, to be honest. It'll be a big job no matter what. It's already been a big job, but I think, to be honest, I would never forgive myself for, trashing this thing or, giving it away. So, as of right now, I believe I'm going to try to repair this. It's going to be a future project, though, not something I'm going to do immediately. A neighbor coming in to save the day with a big Cub Cadet. It's a beast. Well, my neighbor came down and helped me get this grinder and that saw off of the trailer. He used his large Cub Cadet tractor, which, man, so nice. That and some forks. I got a couple of pictures I'll show. Him unloading this thing. Deceptively heavy. I'm guessing around 2,000 plus pounds for this unit. You wouldn't think it would be that heavy, but it is. The casting is super thick on it. Now I've got it temporarily wired to my phase converter that I use to run my milling machine. And I've test run this thing. I've test run the spindle for probably an hour or so, and I'm surprised at how good it sounds. I pulled the wheel and stuff off of it. I wasn't for sure that this wheel wasn't damaged, and I'm glad that I decided to at least look at it, because the only thing that was holding this wheel on this grinder was the taper. It's actually missing the nut that holds this on, which is kind of a bummer, because it is like a left-handed 10 by 1.5, I believe. Something I definitely don't have laying around, and I'll have to come up with a way to make it. My big lathe, I don't have the gearing to turn metrics on it, and my mini lathe happens to be probably the only one in the country that has a imperial lead screw on it. It's the standard version, so I'll have to make one, I'm sure. But spindle runs good, and it sounds like I would expect. Smooth and doesn't get hot, which is good. And the table and stuff works on it. And you can set your endpoints, make this thing move, as far as you want and as fast as you want, really, by changing the pressure and stuff, it seems, and moving this switch here. And then you've got the movements for that's the Z-axis. You can change how fast it moves. And you can move it, manually. So, really, if this thing isn't completely trashed as far as its ways, it'll be a nice grinder, I think. Sure is ugly, but and rough. But you never know. It's worth a shot, I think. Most of the things I see are acceptable to me. So, only time will tell, really. We'll have to definitely go over it. But I gotta get that done. I'll get you a better look at this machine. We'll get you a little closer. Alright, so I want to get you a pretty good up-close look at this thing. Now, it has several coats of paint on it. It originally was tan, so you got a red primer, tan, and then I guess somebody brushed over it blue. So this thing is really about as rough as I think that they get. Now, it's got a leak here at this hydraulic control. It does seep out on top of the saddle here, so I'll have to, that's one thing for sure I'll have to repair. Look how bad. What you would expect, really, from a grinder from the 80s. But I'm pleasantly surprised that everything works. The spindle sounds good. But, when I felt it, I wasn't surprised that it sounded good and ran okay. My main concern with this machine at the moment is the ways on the table. This happens to have balls that are in a line, and they run on a V and a flat. And when you move these grinders, supposedly, well, not supposedly, you're supposed to either remove the table or block them good. And who knows if this thing's been, properly moved over the years. I'm sure it hasn't. So, that's suspect, just like everything on it, to be honest. But at least everything works as it should. You can see it has a over wheel dresser on it, which I probably will not use. It's pretty crusty anyway. This holds a diamond nib. You pull that handle and it dresses the wheel from the top, which I don't know if is the best method or not. I think diamond nib on the surface plate's probably the way to go. I'm just guessing there, but it seems like that would leave a lot of room for error being mounted up there. It'd have to be perfectly in line to dress your wheel proper. So a lot of work to do on this thing to get it looking like anything. But I'm excited to tear into it. And I'm definitely glad that I got it. And I'm glad my neighbor helped me unload it. It would have been tough otherwise. This thing's definitely heavy. All the controls work as they should, which is good, and all the wiring seems to be original on this thing. So nobody's been in there messing around, which is always a good sign. Still even got the wiring papers inside. I got the saw, of course, off the trailer too, and I've done a lot of work on it over the week. It's been a pretty boring week, really, video-wise. I've just been cleaning and moving equipment, but I sure have got a lot done. Not so much video-worthy stuff, but you get the idea. I want to take you out here and show you the saw too, because I've made definitely a lot of progress on it. In order to convert this to manual, a few things are going to happen. One is I'll have to control the speed through this Reeves drive. Now, originally it was controlled by a small hydraulic cylinder that moved that pulley unit, up and down to change the speed. So I'll have to come up with a bell crank or something manual here to control that, which shouldn't be too bad. And then, one thing that'll probably be a little tougher is to control to have an easy lift and a controlled descent on the saw itself. Now, this is a really heavy saw and not easy at all to lift manually. So, some sort of a device to aid in lifting, and then something to control descent. I'm thinking a hydraulic cylinder that's valved to where I can easy lift, and then valved to where it's you can control the descent. At least that's the way our Kalamazoo is at work. It's basic, really. So that'll have to be changed. The speed will have to be changed, and the vise will have to be changed. Now, I really think out of all of them, the vise will be the easiest. It has a large pawed piece here that is pushed on by a small or a short screw here. So really all I'll have to come up with, is a end plate with a screw and a handle. It's a little more complicated than that, but not too bad. And the vise should work fine in a manual mode. There are some other issues with this saw. It does have one issue that it does have some damage, and I'll show you that. Other than some bent sheet metal, which will have to be straightened, and that's not too bad. I've already straightened out some. It's dented up here. Over the years, the saw blade has come off and rubbed on the frame here. This is a sheet metal frame, or not sheet metal. I mean, that's half-inch steel. Some are cast. This one is plate steel, and the blades come off and rubbed fairly deep. Around 3/4 or at least half of this pulley. You can see it's got a fairly deep spot right there, and then it shallows out all the way up to here. So that'll have to probably be welded up. Still, not really a big deal, but something that has to be done. Coolant system will be an easy fix. Has two coolant paths to each blade guide. These blade guides are, massive, and they slide on this these dovetails. And I also want to get somebody's welded this handle on, and it kind of looks goofy compared to the original, which is a nice large cast iron handle. So I'll probably get one of these casted up out of aluminum to match and put over here. And then of course paint the saw. This is just an out plate. It'll have to be supported. But that's it. I mean, really, the saw cleaned up fairly well. And I'm just getting started on it, really. But actually looks pretty good, to be honest. And I don't think it'll be as bad as I originally thought. So you can see it's got some damage here too. Hopefully you can see that channel. This one's not that bad and really doesn't need anything, but the one on the drive wheel, has got quite a bit of abrasion in it. So she needs some work, but I think it would be a nice saw. Definitely outside of my scope of work as far as its size, but it would be nice. It's got a General Electric, I believe that's a 5 horsepower, but I'm not 100% for sure. I know that it is dual voltage, so I can run it on 223 phase, and I have removed the hydraulic pump and everything off of it. That was removing all that stuff's easy. And it's got plates that go over this, sheet metal plates that hook into these and cover all this. So really, I think, once she's painted and stuff, it'll be a decent looking saw. She's not light, that's for sure. I would like to possibly get either this redone or redo it myself. It's got some dents and stuff in it. All this is raised lettering, so I may be able to just you know, fill in. I don't know. I may just leave it alone. But you know, it'd be nice to get that redone too. The big DoAll badge on this thing is cast aluminum. You know, it's not some cheap, cheesy plastic badge. That's the real deal right there. You know, that's nice. And they really made them back then. There's the damage on the side. But all that's easy to fix. I did body work for years. I drained the oil out of the gearbox on it and was pleasantly surprised that it you know, wasn't empty. It definitely wasn't full, but I didn't get any metal out of it or anything, so she's heavy. Alright, so I'm sitting here digging through my McMaster catalog. Man, usually if you need it, you know, they have it, but I cannot find the screw that I need in here. They actually do have a left-handed screw section that I found, and you can call them and ask them, but I still haven't done that yet. I need it for the spindle on that grinder. But I got some viewer mail that I want to share. You know, it's been piling up for a little while, and I want to, you know, show it if I can. Emma from Emma's Spare Room Machine Shop. She sent me her new sticker, which is really nicely done. So thank you, Emma. And if you haven't checked her out, go do it. It's Emma's Spare Room Machine Shop on YouTube. It's super nice. She's one of the first people that ever contacted me when I started making content. So thank you, Emma. I really appreciate it. And Joe Way from Sierra Specialty Auto, he sent me a big end mill and some of his stickers. So go check out Joe Way. Nice guy. I've seen a lot of creators showing his stickers lately. So I'll put those up on the board. CJ Craven, all the way across the pond, sent me 2 really nice large end mills. They're in the pill coat, so you know, those are really nice. One big 2 flute and a big 6 flute. So thank you, CJ. And Tim Riley sent me a stack of horizontal milling cutters. I can't even hardly see those, it's so dark over here, but you get the idea. A couple shell mills and some slitting saw blades. So that was very nice. He also sent me an adjustable reamer. And then Custom King 33 over on Instagram. His name is Lonnie Zanetti. Sent me a whole bunch of stock. Let me pan you around and show you what he sent. So he boxed up a bunch of just drop. I don't know if it's drop or not. Big piece of 4140, 6061, both 3" and 1.5", and then some carbon steel, some 1018, and a few horizontal milling cutters. Radius, small radius cutter, angle cutter. Looks like 45. That's a 90. I don't even know what I'm thinking. Anyway. Thank you, Lonnie. I really appreciate it. Go check him out. It's Custom King 33, all one word on Instagram. Well, I think that's it, guys. It has been a crazy busy week, like I always say that, but it has been. And moving that stuff around, you know, is tough. That heavy equipment, and cleaning it up is even tougher, especially you know, when you get a grinder. Man, a lot of times. I didn't get the grinder that Keith Fenner got. Maybe some of you guys watched his video that he posted from Turn Right Machine Works. Man, he got a Jewel, is what it looks like. Old Brown and Sharp number 2 in immaculate condition. That would be nice. But I want an automatic grinder, not a manual. We'll see. I'll take what I get, to be honest. But you know, I like the manual, and hopefully this one turns out good. You know, we'll see. It definitely doesn't look good, but that doesn't mean it's not mechanically okay. You know, only a test will see. So I've got a lot to do on it, and you know, we'll get into that saw sometime in the future. I'm in no hurry on it. But big thanks to the guys who sent something into the channel. The viewer mail is always appreciated, and you know, I've got quite a bit more that I really need to share. You know, got to get around to it, and you know, we'll be showing some more of that in the future. But I think that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. If you need anything, contact me through my email. hit the bell for notification. Click on my little guy to subscribe to the channel. And as always, I'll see you next time.